Hello, beautiful humans. Welcome to this unique and special collaborative reading for the collective that I am doing on this channel with two other readers on their channels as well. Welcome to Do You Tarot, this channel, and my name is Erica. And the way this reading is going to work is it is a message for the collective, but I'm doing this with two other readers as well. I'm doing it with the Plaid Sheep Oracle, and I'm also doing it with Erica Flack on her channel. Both are incredible readers, and I'll describe them in a moment for you, but how this reading is going to work is all you all need to do is feel your way into which of these three readings, which of these three groups you feel most drawn to. It's essentially a pick a card reading, pick a group, and then you can just head to the link and or the timestamp or just keep watching this video for whichever one of us you feel like has your messages for you. Feel free to watch all three of them, because I requested that we all three do readings for the collective. It's something that I have never done before, just like that kind of thing, like a reading for the collective. But both of them are incredible, and I'm going to describe them in a minute for you. But to help you choose and feel your way in, some people like a visual aid, so go ahead and use our logos to, stimulate which one you feel most drawn to, which logo for which channel. It's the Plaid Sheep Oracle, mine, and Erica Flack's logo. And then I'm also going to describe them for you. I'm group number one. Do You Tarot is group number one. So you can just continue watching this video, or you can just head to the timestamp. Group number two is Sybil with the Plaid Sheep Oracle, and she's attended a few of the group tarot readings that I host monthly at this point. And to describe her reading style, and I told this to her, it feels as if I'm sitting down with a warm cup of tea, a bowl of stew, right by the hearth in Hobbiton, and she's going to tell me, or I'm going to read it through her and with her like a tale, and it's going to be vivid and charactered and detailed and lush and full of history, and it's very Tolkien-esque to me, and it feels like I'm eating something hearty and fulfilling. When I listen to her readings, I absolutely love them, and I love that kind of quality and character to them, and she just fills my heart in that kind of way. That will be group number two. That's Plaid Sheep Oracle. And for that, if you feel drawn to that message, go ahead, head to the description, and instead of a timestamp, it's a link to her channel where the reading is posted for you, and you can go ahead and watch that and meet Sybil with the Plaid Sheep Oracle. She's amazing. Group number three is Erica Flack, and she attended a group tarot session a while back since I've been running this channel, and I met her and I was just blown away by her ability to be with and stay in a channel. And the way I would describe her reading style is essentially it's like diving underwater and catching a current, and for me, I would be like a newbie down there, but it's almost like listening to her readings is like she knows her way around there, and she's holding your hand, and she's like a nature guide, and she's pointing out all of these things for you to see. Whereas for me, if I dove down there in that current, I hope this is illustrating it well, because it's exactly how it feels when I watch her readings. But I'm oh my God, she's pointing out all these things, and she's so good at it, and she's quick with it, and she's intelligent, and all these kinds of things that otherwise I'd just be I'm in the current, I don't know, it's new for me. And it's just I admire her very much so for her ability to be in there and almost be a guide, a nature guide, going on a nature hike with a naturalist who will tell you to slow down and look underneath that leaf because, oh my gosh, there's something there. And she pulls so much out of it. It's just amazing. So yeah, she is group number three, and she is the link that is in the description of this video for group number three. Go ahead and check her out, meet her channel. Again, I'm group number one, and I'm doing this for the first time for this messages for the collective. I just picked a whole bunch of different decks, and I have 19 cards here that I grabbed. I'm gonna lay them out, and I'm gonna see what they have to say for you. I have no idea yet. So I love you. I love doing this. This makes me very excited. I don't know if you can tell. Feel your way into which reader, which message you feel has your messages for you. This is like a dream realized for me with the collaboration effort of tarot and how it can bring us together. And I love different readers giving us different perspectives on different things. It's so accessible, tarot, isn't it? Everyone can do it. Some of us are really, really good at it. I just really love doing something like this. So please let me know what you think in the comments of this video. And also, if you're interested in gathering together with other readers over Zoom monthly, as I mentioned, I host with this channel a group tarot gathering. So if you are a reader, and if you want to be a reader, go ahead and grab a deck. It does not matter what level you are. We're just all going to gather together and read tarot together in whatever kind of way that forms. It's very informal. It's meant for meeting each other, and everybody practices giving and receives a reading in these sessions, okay? If that sounds like something you would like to do, head to the link in the description of this video as well, and you can sign up for the next one. That's enough for this extended long intro. Oh, feel your way, make your choices, watch all of them. I will. I already have watched the other two multiple times. But okay, I love you. I will see you in your message if I'm doing it. Hello, beautiful humans in group number 1 in my Do You Tarot group. This is the reading for the collective that you need to tune into. Like I showed you at the end of the intro, I just felt called to get a whole bunch of different cards, tarot cards from a whole bunch of different decks. I'm going to lay them out and then I'm going to read them randomly and see what they have to say. But first, let's see what the cards are. We have King of Pentacles, as well as Justice, the Tower card, and the Moon card. And then these two are the only oracle cards that I laid out, and it's Mother as well as Butterfly. And then we have Knight of Cups, which I feel like putting down right here. This is so random. I never do it like this if you watch my channel, so we're just going with it. I feel like the order and where the cards are placed is like coming through me as well. We also have the Fool, and then these two, the Hermit and the Chariot. And then we have 9 of Wands, 9 of Pentacles, the 7 of Coins, and for some reason I'm feeling like squishing this one up right here, the 8 of Cups, and then our last few cards, the 8 of Pentacles, the Queen of Pentacles, and then we also have the Fool, which I kind of want to put here or there. And we also have the 9 of Wands again. That's interesting because 9 of Wands and then the Fool right here. And then Justice. I'm going to put Justice right here. I'm going to pause this and then I'm going to reflect and then I'll come through with something. All right, this message feels large and it feels like it's for a group of people to hear rather than how I usually in my readings like to make it very individual. Honestly, this really feels like a message for the collective. Okay, it's beginning and ending with the Justice cards, and what I'm seeing in these cards is you all have a choice point right now, and what I feel like these cards are tuning into is sort of where we are at in time, like humans and like sort of the things that are going on in the world and what we can do about it ourselves in our lives. And this has the frequency of making choices as they pertain to our resources and having them be a lot more guided by our emotions and the truth of our hearts. And so then starting with this King of Pentacles and the Justice card. I almost feel as if these cards and what is like undeniable. I mean, I paused for a while and I let a lot of messages come through, and I feel like this is kind of like an undeniable message of like the cards and what I channel and these readings for you are trying to let you know what is likely to occur, like almost like you all have an opportunity right here to tune into, you know, the timeline or something like that. Like it feels very big. So, okay. King of Pentacles and the Justice card, it feels like it's letting us know that some people will find this kind of thing very easy, tying our resources to our heart space and being devotional to that. And we'll also find it a whole lot more easier to allow a shift to occur in terms of how money flows and goes, and you know, how we do economy and resources globally, and like what kind of work do we do and how are we doing it and why are we doing it and how do we feel about it. And it feels like right here, it's like some people who find it easier to align with heart space and trust that journey. We have two Fool cards right here, and we have this Knight of Cups right here to show this. It's a risky journey to follow your heart as it pertains to finances because it's an unsustainable one. If you follow your heart, that's not practical, that's not logical. You're supposed to do, you know, the trusted order of things, the standard of things, and go for what will be the most money that you can earn, and do that path because that's considered more King of Pentacles responsible. The Justice card here at the beginning of the reading and here at the end of the reading is letting me know there's meant to be a shift. There's meant to be a turn in perspective on this whole entire thing, because it's kind of, I'm feeling like including a whole lot in this. I mean, like, we're all kind of tired of global wars, and here in the States, we're all, how many of us have been diagnosed with some form of mental illness or emotional malady? I mean, there are many, many things that we can speak to about how it's not necessarily making us happy to do resources and money and things like that in the way that we are. So then there are shifts. There's talk about sustainability. There's talk about, you know, follow your dreams and do what you love. But that's why it feels like there are some people who will find this easy. If you look on this card, the Knight of Cups, you know, forward momentum of doing what you love, going for what you love, giving to who and what you love, being devotional to that. It is a risk, but some people find it worth it, and it's a sense of purpose that's easier to find when we do that. But look, there's like, he's flying over shark infested waters, and it is a fool's errand. Because what if you don't have this is the kind of energy of like, I'm quitting my job because I absolutely hate it. And then like normal people would be like, you need to have a job lined up, or you need to have a lot of savings, or what is your plan? And this is like, no plan. But it is pretty cool because the Eight of Pentacles is right here. And in a lot of ways, this is like the people who are comfortable doing that, are comfortable with the risk. It's a little less painful feeling to take on that risk because it's so devotional. And that's Eight of Pentacles. And it feels like those people, if you all are some of those people, then it's like, get to work right now on those things that are your heart space things, that are related to resources, that are related to earning and money flowing through you and from you, and all that kind of stuff. Get to work on those projects, get busy on them, become better and better and better, and love and love and love and flow with it. Because it almost feels like the way that the cards wanted to be laid out on the table, and these cards as they came out, you'll be a part of supporting those who do not quite like this shift. Those who are more in alignment with what we have been driven to and how humans have set up the world to think and feel and know is normal. You know, you work and you go to college and you get the job and you have the savings and the 401k, and anyone else who isn't doing that is making poor choices in life. And it's not about privilege, it's about, you know, well, I made good choices and anything like that. There's a lot that needs to be like ignored in that bubble, and it's self-containment and independence it's just this Tower card right here. It feels like culture. It literally feels like what I'm tuning into is a message, and I don't know why, and I'm just going with it, and it feels intimidating, but I'm going for it. It feels like those people will have to face that kind of culture shock of being aware of the privileges that they weren't aware of that they had. Like, are you born in a first world country or a developing country? Or like, were you part of an ancestry of colonization or like invasion? Like, these are the things that we're all facing right now. And like, sure, are you able to provide for, you know, all of your loved ones, but are you also completely drained, and are you self-medicating to be able to continue going so that you can do those kinds of things? That's the Tower card. And then it feels like the way that the cards are moving, it feels like those people who have a hard time. And in a lot of ways, this is, I can relate to this, because a lot of my dreams and my hopes and my visions that I have had are almost dependent upon the system as they are. Like, I almost don't want to share this. It's a bit vulnerable, but I wrote a screenplay. And I would love it to be produced and developed, but that's still dependent upon a system as it exists right now that isn't, I mean, like, it isn't exactly like, you know, equal, and it isn't exactly hearing every voice. Like, there's a lot that's been happening in entertainment in America that's trying to open that up and get more voices heard and things like that. So it's confusing. So I'm like, I'll just kind of let that dream go. And it feels like the people who their dreams kind of die and fade away because they realize that in order to realize their dreams, they'd have to still have a kind of mindset of, you know, what isn't going to exist any longer is gonna need to support it. Am I making sense? Hopefully I am. Like, it's built on a tower that needs to fall in a lot of ways, because those towers are making us ill, and they're making us sad, and they're not really helping us connect as much as we all want to. And in that kind of a way, it's like we all are being led into this Hermit Chariot energy. And it's like, let's go within, let's touch base with those things that actually do light our fire. Where are our inner truths? Let's take a spiritual journey. In a lot of ways, this might feel like depression, and in a lot of ways it's like a kind of a reordering kind of energy, but there's also still that sense of movement with it. It just, honestly, it feels like a kind of well, I don't know. Honestly, this Hermit and the Chariot card, because usually they almost feel like opposing forces. Like, when I'm hermiting, I feel like I have nothing of the Chariot forward momentum energy of like, my journey is my own kind of thing. But maybe it feels like that's what the, you know, people who are on this side of this whole thing, who are like, oh crap, I wanted to do something that was very like individual and very like in alignment with the systems and stuff as they are. And now it's just going to be like, okay, well, I have to touch base with, you know, self. What's the truth of my inner child? What's the truth of, you know, my personal journey, hermiting, like higher self, just like touch base with that. And then I kind of want to go right here and tie in the fact that the Chariot card is zodiac wise. The zodiac sign is Cancer. And right here in the center of the table at the top is the Moon card. And I feel like the energy that is driving all of this shift and all of this change, like I feel globally, and it's been happening and it will happen more. And that's why this reading is coming through in these cards, I think, is that it's going to happen even more. So I feel like you all in group number 1 are graciously receiving this message of awareness to allow yourself to align with it as it comes, because it feels like these people right here are going to be serving a kind of totem purpose of support for the people who aren't very ready for this change or this shift, who do want things to kind of stay the same because they've either found some stability in it or they dream of succeeding within it. And it feels like this Queen of Pentacles is almost this nurturing, mothering energy of like those who are ready for being healing methods, those who are ready to be healing practitioners, those who are ready with places and spaces like physically to host and to help and to create and that kind of stuff. It's almost like, let's bring those things online because I feel like these people are going to need it. I know that when I first started hermiting, I needed a whole lot of this. Like I found a spiritual center and I had never been spiritual before ever, like ever. And I was like, I need something and I know it's spiritual and I don't know what. And in a lot of ways, maybe that's why the Chariot card is here. It's because when I was hermiting and when I was like, I need to be alone and I need to touch base with something and I don't know what it is. And for some reason, I know I need help with it. A lot of that kind of communication came through intuition, came through emotions. And that's why I was mentioning Cancer, is because it's an energy of home space. It's an energy of emotions. And it's an energy of being able to like go deep and feel those feelings. And right here, the Moon card feels like it's driving this entire reading. It's driving this entire thing. It's not just time to touch base with our emotions. It's time, past time. And it's this acknowledgement. And I love how this card, if you look at it, she's singing. She's like right there and she's singing notes and they're just emanating from her. And it almost feels like a goddess communicating to us all, like, these are the emotions and you can feel them and it's time to acknowledge them, no longer suppress them, do not ignore them. This is the universal language. In a lot of ways, music and emotions are quite closely tied, aren't they? Like I can't, like in my girlhood, I remember songs would come on the radio when we were in the car. I was with my family and like the song would just make me cry and I always felt embarrassed and I would always try to hide it. I don't know why. Like it wouldn't even be the words. It's just some music does that, doesn't it? Like it just gets us, doesn't it? And in a lot of ways, like music is a very universal language for us all. And it feels like this mermaid knows that and she's singing a universal language to us all. This is a reading for the collective. This is a message for us all. In a lot of ways, emotions are the exact same thing. They're a universal language for us. Humans, like no matter where we're from, we feel these feelings and we can tell and we can sense them in each other as well. And it feels like this is the driving force of this shift and this change, is finally allowing ourselves to feel what it feels like to deny our pleasures and or to acknowledge pressure and go with the pressure. This Justice card is letting me know that in the area of where we have balanced resources and how we deal with our time, our energy, our money, those kinds of things, our housing, all that kind of stuff, land itself is in a phase of being balanced, being brought into balance after some pretty grave injustices. And it's going to continue, and I feel like it's going to intensify. Although I feel like because there's so much feminine energy right here, there's going to be a lot of support for it, and it's not really going to be some kind of like messy, bloody, horrific kind of thing. I feel like what these cards are saying is kind of, you all who are watching this reading, are you ready to serve? And or are you ready to acknowledge that this shift is going to occur? Like I mentioned, like I have a screenplay and I'm pretty sure I'm never gonna do anything with it. It was a beautiful dream. It was wonderful. Or maybe I will. It's just the way to go about getting it produced would have to change because it's pretty unjust. It's pretty confusing to gain access to that whole system. It's very confusing. But what it feels like right here is that there's also a song about, well, we have Mother and Butterfly, and very simply put, it feels like just, I kind of want to lay it out there for those who are parents. It feels like there's going to be a massive shift in how motherhood is perceived, like, you know, with resources. I feel like it's going to be perceived very differently. Here in the States, we're having those very dynamic political, well, I wanted to say discussions, but it's way more heightened than that, about abortion and about those kinds of rights and what that means. And in a lot of ways, it's always a conversation about, is there support for me as a mother? Is there support for me? Like, have I made, that's like a huge discussion, but basically it's like a choice of whether or not to have a child. And then it's Yeah, it is a resource-based discussion in a lot of ways, including treating a woman's body as a resource. So then it feels as if this butterfly right here is there will be a massive, massive shift in this area and in this focus, almost like treating motherhood as a job. Like in Europe, there are many countries who offer very liberal parental leave after giving birth in acknowledgement of such things. So it feels as if one of the primary key ingredients right here with this Eight of Cups is that it's just a simple shift for a lot of people to allow themselves to walk away from what is no longer serving them. And I feel like there will be a lot of people who will move countries, change locations, move away from family, move away from situations that aren't serving them. There has to be some kind of flow and change. And if it is like a whole traditional system set up that isn't allowing that flow and change, I feel like a lot of people are going to, pack up what they can, take what they need to, and acknowledge that there's nothing anymore any longer for them there because it's such a denial of this song. Emotions, heart space, swimming in them, acknowledging how we feel, going deep with it and not denying it. There needs to be, with this Queen of Pentacles and the Eight of Pentacles, I feel like a whole lot of emotional work is rising up as the kind of the new standard of healing. And then now I kind of want to move into this Nine of Wands and Nine of Pentacles because of the way that they are so well illustrated. It's Nine of Wands, Nine of Pentacles into the Seven of Coins. And it is so interesting. It's so interesting how I just randomly grab these cards and they're laid out on the table. But this tells the story of social class. Like the Nine of Wands and like you work until you're constantly so close to burnout, but you do your devotional tasks and you're always almost there, and that feels like the best we can do in the lower classes. And then this Nine of Pentacles, it's like you have as one person this palatial estate amount of land and this gate nobody's allowed in, and you get to like present yourself like a peacock with all of your wealth. And it feels, this Nine of Wands feels like the war that humans have been fighting with that kind of dynamic for millennia. Like how many wars have been fought, how many revolutions. People, they hate it and they're confused by it. We all are. It took me a while to understand, the American thing until I left America and I realized that what America can be in terms of resources and finances and how it's easier to, reach these top levels in America, maybe more than any other place in the world. And I didn't always know that, but it's still, why are there top places and why are there low places? And it's confusing. And it feels as if the shift will occur because of emotions. Because the last thing that we want to look at and feel is how this all feels to experience. And I've said this in readings before, it's lonely at the top. It's like you have all these wonderful things, and it is interesting how it almost looks like this woman right here is like a worker, a gardener of the estate. And this woman is like, well, I own it and you work for me. And there's that kind of energy, but it's always this war, this Nine of Wands kind of war. And it's always like this tense thread, I'm feeling like a trigger, like it's like the tension on the trigger. And like, it's always that kind of tension of like the haves and the have-nots. Like how many stories have been told about it? How many revolutions and wars have been fought about it? Like how many coups have occurred? And it's just like, I feel like there's an energy of what we're somewhat tired of that at this point, because now I want to get to this Seven of Coins card, which this is depicting I think it's Nanahuatzin. Yeah, Nanahuatzin. It's an Aztec myth. And it's these two gods. And the whole story is essentially the gods. They had tried Earth with humans 4 times previously. And each time they had scrapped it because the humans were determined to be not good enough. And then on this fifth time, Quetzalcoatl figured something out, and by mixing in corn, he made like better humans. And that supposedly group number one is us. And and then what occurred though was Quetzalcoatl was serving as the sun during one of these eras of humans on Earth. And because he wasn't going to be sun any longer, there needed to be a new god to serve as the sun. And this wasn't just going to be serving as the sun for a time, this was serving for the sun as eternity. So then instead of just like, every god jumping at it for like privilege and like, ooh, I'll be the sun because that's, so prominent, they chose a person. They chose a god. They chose a god, and they chose this one who is not Nanahuatzin. Is it Nanahuatzin? It's Nanahuatzin. This one, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but I'm just gonna say this guy. And then this is Nanahuatzin. They chose this guy to serve as the sun, and this guy said yes because this guy was wealthy and privileged, and he figured that that would bring him to prominence even more and give him immortality as a god. This is Nanahuatzin, and because Nanahuatzin was such a loyal, dedicated, devoted, and committed god, like to service, then they chose him to serve as the lesser of the two, but the moon. And what ended up happening is they built this fire, and both gods had to like sacrifice themselves on the fire, and first was supposed to be this guy. And when it came time to it, because his motivators were much more like this Nine of Pentacles, as in, will it make me shiny? Will it bring me to more prominence? He chickened out, and it was his turn to jump on the fire, sacrifice himself, and then he'd become the sun. He didn't do it. And so then the gods were all furious, and they're like, Nanahuatzin, you do it. Nanahuatzin walks up and throws himself, lands like immediately, just like, this is my duty. And he lands on the fire exactly in the center, and he becomes the sun. And it is interesting because he's also like less favored, because if you see on this card, he's got these markings all over him, and that's shown in Aztec paintings because apparently he was like syphilitic and he was ill, but he did his duty, and it was like, I need to do this duty because this is what we're doing and nobody else is gonna do it. And then this is Seven of Coins, by the way, this card, and it's talking about doing your duty for the sake of resources, doing what you know is needed and necessary, somewhat like in alignment with purpose, in alignment with dependency of others, and the interconnectedness of like, what is the thing that is healthy? I'll go ahead and I'll do that. And then he becomes the sun, and then this guy becomes the moon. And it is interesting because I think it was Quetzalcoatl, or one of the gods, was so furious at this guy that they took a rabbit that was just like sitting nearby, and they threw it at him when he was the moon. And then that's why the moon looks like it has a rabbit, imprint on it. And I do think it's very, very interesting that this Queen of Pentacles, which is quite devotional to Rider-Waite Tarot in this deck, has the rabbit here, which is very often symbolized on Queen of Pentacles cards. There is an anger in the collective, an anger, but it's meant to all balance out. This reading ends with the Justice card. It's meant to not be the war that it has always been, the Nine of Wands. This shift is meant to be purposefully driven by emotions, purposefully driven by compassion and empathy, and a recognition and an acknowledgement of love and connection. It's meant to be driven by that universality of language, rather than those who have the most can be most dominant. It's a different kind of thing, and it has to do with devotion, and it has to do with duty, and it has to do with setting things up in a balanced way over the long term, and serving what you need to serve so that it can happen for the collective kind of ideal and kind of idea. So yeah, starting with this King of Pentacles, sort of the foundations that we're all standing on, my dears, in this group number one reading, they're all shifting right now, and they're all coming to prominence in the collective consciousness in a lot of ways. So there's a choice point here, and I fall on both. Just letting you know, like I said, there are parts of me that are exactly like this, that I'm gonna need to be able to do this kind of process. And I'm gonna need some of you all to help me with it, to understand, okay, well, I have this skill and I've done something, I wrote something, it's really cool. I don't know what to do about that yet. And in that kind of way, those of you who are in this Eight of Pentacles, you all can help me understand how I can adapt it or how I can shift it and use it for different things. I mean, I could write an emotions book, why not? Or who knows? And then the Queen of Pentacles, you all will help me, you know, with the emotions that come up, and help me by being a safe space for me, you know? And likewise, I will do the same for you. I mean, my Queen of Pentacles energy could be this tarot channel for you all. I hope so. And my Eight of Pentacles is getting better at it for you all. Having the courage to do it. Honestly, this reading, when it came out, I paused for such a long time because I'm like, this reading feels really big and I'm not comfortable doing it. So yeah, I needed some courage, like Nana Watson. But yeah, I'm gonna finish your reading off with a few of these reflection cards, and maybe just one. I just want to see what wants to come out for you all. These two. Your last, the end of this reading, okay? Those of you who are ready, those of you who are not, the parts of you that are ready, the parts of you that are not, here we go. What causes am I contributing? This is a good one for me. What causes am I contributing to that are bigger than myself? Jesus, that makes me want to cry. Like the songs of my girlhood on the radio in the car with my family. Like Nana Watson. What service are you ready for yourself and for the collective? I feel very much so this rebalancing is about like our masculine selves being more in duty form and service form, and our feminine selves being more of prominence and healing and hosting, healing our mother wounds, whether we are parents ourselves, or we can go through, I've done a lot of that kind of process of healing the acknowledgement of my mother wound with my own mother, and I'll keep going because this butterfly, there needs to be some kind of a transformation. Oh my God. Whoa, look, sun and moon. Come on, the sun and the moon. Let's see how we go about doing it, okay? Let's see what we end up doing. And then, am I putting enough effort into my relationships? That's exactly what this feels like. It feels like acknowledging, like, do we like this relationship dynamic here of the haves and the have-nots? Arguably, throughout all of time and all of human history, no, we don't. No one really does. Even when we do make it to some level of prominence, it's lonely at the top. And then the whole entire time, if we're not at the top, we're somehow struggling and confused and hanging on by a thread. That's what I meant, the thread. Hanging on by a thread when I was saying the trigger. Maybe it's because this Nine of Wands, it looks so much like you back up against a tree and you've been battling and it looks like war, and we're tired of that. We're tired of that war. Am I putting enough effort into my relationships? The mermaid of the moon is singing the songs of emotions to help us acknowledge where love is, where it isn't, what we do need to walk away from, how we're going to do relationship science moving forward, and balance it with duty and justice and reality, and bring it into focus as it pertains to how our resources are flowing to us, through us, from us, you know? That's what I have for you all. This was not what I expected, but hopefully it's what everybody needs. My God, okay. That's your reading group number 1. If you liked it, thumbs up. I freaking love doing this collaboration reading. I am hoping to do a whole lot more. If you have a channel and you wanna link up with me, channel at any level, I don't give a shit. Go ahead, send me a message. I think I have my email posted in the description of this video, so you can look at that. Also, if you want to attend the next group tarot gathering, check out the link in the description of this video to sign up for that. It's everybody gathering over Zoom and we just read tarot together and we connect, okay? That's the idea with that. And also be sure to check out the other 2 groups for Plaid Sheep Oracle and Erica Flax reading if you were interested in those channeled messages for the collective as well. They are brilliant. I love them. I appreciate you all being here. I'm gonna send you on your way, just reminding you that we're all always connected and we're also all always free at the exact same time. Let's get those in balance, shall we? I love you.